I don't know how cute I'm feeling. I might switch back and forth just to be a pain.
The Farrah Fawcett doll that he's holding up.
You are not. Oh, is it the Amy Farrah Fowler, not Farrah Fawcett? Oh my God, two totally different chicks.
Yeah, it's very
totally different chick. Oh, it's live and people are hearing this. That's great. That's awesome. Good time.
Yep, we're live.
Hey.
Two bobbleheads.
So wait, when I come up on the screen, is it the wide screen or is it just the little square like I see here at the bottom on my screen?
No, you come out. The wide screen is what shows up.
Ugh, so you see my whole closet?
Just your underwear.
You do not see my underpants. You know, your wife and I are Facebook friends.
It's true. It's true. Don't give me those eyes.
I'm giving you the eyebrow, which is worse.
Eyebrow, right there. Speak to the eyebrow.
Many of people have fought the eyebrow and lost.
Yeah. Hey, Em's in the chat room. Hi, Em. Oh, wait, you're here too.
Am I?
Yeah.
There's people in the chat room. Is this a chat room from last week?
Yeah, well, it's the continuation of the same chat room.
A few seconds ago.
But the video's updated.
Oh, okay.
It's the same chat room. All right, show notes. We ready to... Do you want to look over what you're doing in the show notes?
I'm just going to wing it because I'm a pro. I'm a professional.
Let's go. We put the pro in professional. Okay, you ready to rock and roll?
Sure.
I have Miles muted, so.
Miles.
Miles.
Yes. I'm just bringing up the
show notes.
I had the show notes up. I'm just bringing up the webcam.
We are so professional.
You have your volume off though, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! I totes played Rock Band this weekend for the first time ever.
Oh, did you like it?
I loved it. I could have stayed at Steve's place all night.
He's playing Rock Band.
We played till 1 a.m. It was a blast.
That's fun. I find that I'm much better at real instruments than I am at Rock Band instruments.
I can play Rock Band instruments almost awesome, and by almost I mean so not.
That's like me when I'm playing Just Dance.
All right, how's the lighting?
All right.
Ugh, that's even worse.
What?
Woo! Now it's mood lighting. Hey. All right, that's a little better.
You missed my mood music. You missed my mood music, Em.
Mood music? What do you need mood music for?
You said mood lighting. I said mood.
Oh, well, I was playing with the lighting in my room. How's my hair?
It's beautiful.
You're just saying that. You're such a boy.
I have to say it. I'm paid to say it. No.
You... Again, I am Facebook friends with your wife.
I know.
Dear
All right.
Mrs. Scott.
All right, Miles, you want to talk?
Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Should I bring the mic a little closer?
Yeah, you should speak a little bit closer.
Checking, checking, checking.
Hello.
We have a bunch of little trailers.
Speak.
Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Checking.
Oh, yeah, you're coming through. All right. All right. Em, can you speak?
Yes, I can speak. I can say words. Words are fun and very interesting. They communicate things, like
right,
when I'm looking at Facebook.
And when I'm messaging Scott's wife.
Dear Mrs. Scott, your husband is a tool. Love M.
She would laugh if you did that.
I'll do it right now. Really?
No.
I won't. I
You
will.
should.
Maybe I'll do it later.
Are you ready, Miles?
No, I'm not. There was a link I had for Sci-Fi Mafia for 2 clips.
I have the 2 clips queued.
Oh, you're having? Okay.
They're queued.
Okay, then.
They aren't actually in the show notes. I don't think. But I just have them mentioned in the show notes.
Yeah, I put the link there.
Yeah, but I don't have the link there. But I have the music queued.
Okay, then if you have that, then we have what we need.
Yeah. So. All right, you ready to rock and roll here?
Yes. A look
Main
at
show
the
first?
100.
Yeah.
Let me click on that and have that queued up for myself.
Yeah. The other one that you may want is you may want to look up on YouTube The Last Ship and also Falling Skies Season 4.
Okay.
Those two YouTube clips might be
Listener feedback.
well worth the money you spend.
Awesome.
And also the 100. That's on
I
there
think
too.
Yeah, I pulled up the 100.
Okay.
Hey, Jen's here. Hi, Jen.
What's up, girl?
Whoop, whoop.
You know what
Jen.
tomorrow is? It's hump day.
You have them all queued, Em?
Almost. You can go ahead and start
Like, what are you doing?
eating dinner.
Oh, very good. That's attractive.
Hey, you know.
All right. Rolling intro. Oops, I guess not.
Doofus. I love you guys.
You're listening to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast, serving the latest news in sci-fi multimedia. And now, your hosts, Scott, Miles, and Danny. Your table is ready.
Live long and prosper.
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Walter, put the cow away, would you? What is this place? It's a freak show.
Well, welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast. This is episode 199. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
Hello, I'm Miles P. McLaughlin.
And where in the heck is Em?
Well, she.
Hi, I'm M. Garcia, also known as the fool who forgot to take the mute off of her microphone. Hey.
That's okay. The last time I forgot to include you in the show, so
I know.
it wasn't me this time.
No, I totally fobbed it up.
Oh man. Well, welcome guys. It's awesome to be back here. It's awesome to be back here recording the Sci-Fi Diner with you guys.
It's great to be back in the diner, and I brought some new goodies to put in here to decorate it. So
Yep. So if you're in the chat room, for those of you who don't know, we do have a live feed of this on every other Tuesday, and you can go to our Facebook page or the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast.com page and see our schedule as to when we're recording live. And we have some new little gadgets hanging around the room that Miles has been bringing and filling our geekiness, fleshing our geekiness out as if that wasn't known already. But
right now Sheldon has his Amy.
yes.
The Sheldon bobblehead is now with the Amy Fair bobblehead.
Yeah.
You know what Sheldon's missing?
What's he
His
missing?
close personal friend, Will Wheaton.
Which of course you have, Em.
Right here, baby. So it's okay, Sheldon. Just kidding. Best friends.
That's right. That's right. Well, we are a part of the Chronic Riff network of shows. So if you haven't checked out,
Bless you.
So if you haven't checked out their network of shows, please check them out.
Oh, some really great stuff there.
There is tons of great stuff. A lot of good friends of ours that are on that podcast. You heard at the beginning of the episode. This is episode 199, and what does that mean, Miles?
The next one is episode 200.
Yes, and we are celebrating in style. We're giving tons of giveaways. We'll be sharing our top 10 sci-fi diner moments. And we got to investigate, Miles, the other shows that have made it to episode 200.
Right.
Sci-fi shows.
Oh yeah, there haven't been a lot of those. So.
But so we should have a small list.
Mm-hmm.
Small list for that. And we'll give a little bit of sci-fi diner history. And obviously, we have tons of giveaways, which we've only had a few people enter the giveaways. And so your chances are good. If you see something you want, just send in and let us know what you want. There's
Like I put my name in like 200 times, so I'm going to win it all.
That's right. Yeah. Hosts are not eligible for this content.
What?
Yeah. You need to put different names on there, Ian.
Yeah, see, you need to put like a pseudonym.
Johnny Von Banana Hammock.
Oh, jeez. Family show, family
It's
show.
totally family.
All right. Anyways, long story short, we are giving loot away. So please visit our Sci-Fi Diner podcast page, and you'll find the links to the episode 200 giveaways rotating through the top, and just scroll down. You'll find it, and I'll put a link in the show notes so you can find it real easy. Well, Miles, why don't you go ahead and give us the menu tonight?
Sure. Well, we have our interview with Alan Dean Foster, sci-fi fantasy author. He has written also a lot of tie-in novels for a lot of the sci-fi movies we all love. Em and I had a chance to sit down and talk with him at Farpoint. TV news, we have a look at, I'm sorry, the 100. 200's on the brain right now, but there's a new show on the CW called the 100, and we're going to play a clip for that.
They couldn't count as high as the 4,400, so they just went to 100.
I know. Small TV budget. But we'll go look at that later. Also, there is some leak set pics reveal for first look at Gotham's Batman baddie, the Penguin, in this new Gotham series that's going to be coming out. Also, we have a couple new series. Well, we have a new TV series coming out, and we have a Falling Skies trailer. So we're going to be looking at a trailer for The Last Ship, and looking for the trailer for the season premiere of Falling Skies. Graphic novel news. Many of you are fans of the character of Spike from Buffy and Angel. Well, Buffy's James Marsters on his new graphic novel, and when that will be premiering. Movie news. Walt Disney Pictures announces Cars 3 and Incredibles 2. And Sci-Fi 5 at 5, well, that'll be Scott. He'll be giving us his Sci-Fi 5 at 5.
I will be your Sci-Fi 5 and 5. The 5 best things about Scott.
This was not going to be...
All right, good night, everybody.
That's a wrap. No, it'll be my 5 top catchphrases in science fiction. All right?
That should be good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we don't have any trivia this week because our trivia is, well, you entering to win loot from the 200th episode. So please make sure you check that out. So let's move into our first promo tonight. And we're going to play a promo for the Dune Saga podcast, which is a podcast that David Moulton, myself, and Jim Arrowwood, who's been on the show before, runs. And we're working our way through all the Dune novels. And we're at book 5. We're about ready to record our 5th book, and so it's not too late to join. And we're about ready to head into Frank Herbert's universe. So, well worth checking out. So, anyways, here's a promo for the show.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Experience Dune like never before. The Dune Saga podcast with David, Scott, and Jim lead you chronologically through the novels of Frank Herbert, Brian Herbert, and Kevin J. Anderson. Relive your favorite moments, join in the conversations, and let the spice expand your universe. The Dune Saga podcast. Ride the sandworm to DuneSagaPodcast.com or to iTunes for more information. Well, we are moving into some TV news tonight, and there's actually a bunch of stuff that's coming out in the TV universe that we can be talking about. Em, why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
So we're going to take a look at the 100, and let's go ahead and pull that trailer up.
Yeah, so the trail. So the 100, Miles, what's the premise for the show?
Premise is there was a nuclear disaster on Earth, and so there's still humanity above Earth living there, and they try to, they think that maybe Earth is okay to resettle, and so they send 100 people down there to check it out. But, of course, there has to be some kind of disaster that ensues to create some good drama, and that's how these 100 people coexist with a radioactive Earth. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's play the trailer, and then we can talk about it after the trailer.
97 years ago, a nuclear apocalypse killed everything on Earth, leaving the planet simmering in radiation. But fortunately, not everyone was on the ground. For 3 generations, humans have survived up here. So now, we get to test the Earth to see if mankind can finally go home. We've only dreamed of setting foot on the ground, breathing real air.
Your drop site has been chosen carefully. We can spare you no food, water, or medicine. I won't lie. We have no idea what is waiting for you down there.
This is Earth. Everything's toxic. The bombs took him by surprise.
God willing, the next age of man will begin with you.
Everything we thought we knew about the ground is wrong. There's a radiation-soaked forest between us and our next meal.
Let's build a society!
Is this the kind of society that we want?
What's wrong with a little chaos?
How could you not want the rest of our people to come down?
They're getting ready to kill 300 people up there to save oxygen.
Can't afford mercy.
We're one step closer to choosing who lives and who dies.
We can take care of ourselves. They say they'll forgive your crimes. I say you're not criminals.
You're not allowed to die.
Who we are and who we need to be to survive are very different things.
All right. So, the premise of this sounds a little bit more interesting than maybe the way we were playing it, because it sounds like they're coming to Earth on necessity. They're running out of oxygen above Earth, and they're going to kill people just so they can have some more oxygen and live a little bit longer. So Earth maybe represents their only last hope, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got post-apocalyptic Earth. They think it's ready to resettle, and they find out it really isn't. And then you have the space station that can't continue to maintain and keep those people alive. And so it looks interesting. I'm going to at least check out the pilot, and we'll see if it's any good or not.
Your thoughts?
This is dark. This is not what I expected from a CW show, so I'm already intrigued. And this is a little like Lord of the Flies, Survival of the Fittest, and I don't know. I was very shocked by that, and that's a CW show. So this is going to be kind of interesting. I was going to push it aside and not pay attention, but now they've got me.
Yeah,
whoever directed the trailer gets a gold star.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so not much is known about it. A lot of these people. I don't know a lot of these actors. Eliza Taylor, Marie Evangeropoulos, Sachin Sahel. I don't know.
Sachin Sahel.
Thank you. I totally butchered his name. So
there's some faces that I recognize, but a lot of new young faces, which is kind of nice.
And again, this is CW. CW tends to gear itself toward a younger audience.
Yeah, but they just showed us hanging somebody.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how young of an audience or how young adults have been into the
I'm not
coding
talking
for.
like my 6-year-old son. I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I know a few teenagers I could hang. Yeah.
I recognize the
All right.
African American actor who sort of sends them there, but his name eludes me at the moment. I've seen him in lots of stuff.
He was in Grey's Anatomy and caused quite a stir by his personal behavior on set. That is how I remember him.
Oh, okay.
Isaiah Washington.
Okay.
Okay. Isaiah Washington.
I'm just going to leave it at that, or a rant will ensue.
Okay. Let's move on. And who is the next story? Miles, I believe that's you and the Penguin.
Okay, so we got this off a blaster. There's some leaked set pics to reveal the first look of Gotham's Batman baddie, the Penguin. So filming is officially underway on Fox's Gotham, and now the second batch of pics have trickled out. You want to look at the young version of the Penguin? We've already gotten a look at Ben McKenzie's mustache-less take on Detective Jim Gordon. Now some set pics of classic Batman baddie, the Penguin, have arrived. The pics show Robin Lord, Taylor Oswald's Cobblepot, a.k.a. the Penguin, making his way through the gritty streets of Gotham. He definitely looks quirky and frazzled, and we could conceivably believe this guy shows up to be the grade-A psycho of the Penguin. The pics also show off a bit of world building as Cobblepot stops to read a copy of the Gotham Gazette, which seems to focus on two hero cops. We'll give you two guesses who they might be. So this is going to debut on Fox in the fall, and I guess
it'll be canceled. I'm just kidding.
It will last if we're lucky. You know, that's well, but yeah, I the guy who they have him playing the Penguin, he looks, I don't know, he looks sort of normal. I mean, there's nothing too weird about it. I mean, he's wearing a trench coat, bow tie.
If they bring Summer Glau in as Catwoman, it's definitely off the air. There's no other question.
But I will watch it though.
Joke. You just no, they can't.
No.
These again, another new show with young people, a lot of new faces. Jada Pinkett Smith is in it, and Sean Pertwee, who is a really great character actor. I've seen him everywhere, but can never remember his name. So thank you very much, IMDb.
Yeah.
Helping me out there.
Yeah. Well, anything else to say about this? Are you going to be watching it, Miles?
I think I'll watch at least the pilot. I don't know. This is a prequel Batman series without Batman. I'm just not sure I can watch it. I mean,
well, I'm going to tell you, this sounds a little bit like S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
They've managed to slowly be gaining momentum, but it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. without the Avengers. So Gotham City without Batman. I mean,
I know, but
this is a pre-universe. This isn't. Marvel is running in concert with Marvel TV is running in concert with Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So that's kind of going parallel. This is kind of a build-up to what I guess they're going to try and do with Batman and Superman or whatever abomination they're calling it now. It's kind of a little bit of a prequel, kind of like a Smallville is how I'm seeing it, but hopefully not with the last two seasons sucking like Smallville. Was that loud?
Yeah, you said that out loud.
I did. I'm sorry, but
no, you're not.
Miles. I'll watch it with you. Like
Mm-hmm.
we'll push through this together.
Okay. I mean, it sounds interesting, but just I don't know. This thing, it just seems to need Batman.
Yeah. Jen is looking forward to Gotham too, but I probably will not be watching it. I just have. I'm struggling to get through Arrow, which, by the way, I just watched like the second to last episode. Totally awesome, but it's for the listener feedback show. Let's move on into our next trailer. This is for a Michael Bay TV show. Michael Bay. When was the last time he was on TV?
I couldn't tell you.
It's been a while, but Michael Bay. It's called a series called The Last Ship that deals with a global pandemic. So let me go ahead and cue up the trailer, and then we can talk about it after we listen to this trailer.
Damn, it's cold. Should have taken that desk job in Miami.
See if we can get your frozen ass back to Norfolk. Good afternoon, Nathan James. This is the captain. After 4 very challenging months of radio silence, we're going home.
I think we've got it.
What the hell is everyone doing?
CEO wants you back on the ship.
You've got to be kidding me.
5 unknown aircraft approaching range 24 nautical miles.
Go ahead and man your battle station.
Take him out.
There's a survivor. We got a hostage.
Yeah. You want secure. They were clearly after you. No more secrets. I want answers.
I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Cap, we're the President of the United States on the VidCom.
The last you heard, I was Speaker of the House. The President died 2 months ago. The Vice President a week later. Russia no longer has a functioning government. Most of our population is dying or dead. Does Dr. Scott have what she needs to make a vaccine?
7 months ago, outside Cairo, there was an outbreak. A virus that was like nothing any of us had ever seen. When we left Norfolk, the virus was at phase 2. We are now at phase 6. Global pandemic.
Now our duty is to the entire world. For our futures, for our families, and for all humanity. Our mission now is simple. Stay alive until they find that cure.
All right, what do you guys think of that little trailer here? Em, why don't you go first?
Wow. Wow. And creepy and scary and will give me nightmares, so I'm totally going to watch. Great cast.
Yeah,
really amazing. Rhonda Mitra from Lost, if I remember correctly. Was she the one? Was she on Lost? No, she was on a couple other things. And Eric Dane.
Adam Baldwin Jane's in this show. See,
Yes.
all goes back to Firefly.
It all comes back to Firefly. There's a lot of great. I'm sold.
You know, I think what makes, like, for a show like this over the 100 for me is this just has a little bit higher quality of cast. And then again, it's Michael Bay, and he can do anything.
Yeah,
What,
CW.
Yeah. What episode? Where's this airing? Do we know?
Same. I guess it'll air same night that Falling Skies is going to air.
But what station?
Oh, that's
TNT.
Yeah.
TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So pay cable.
So if they're doing it the same night as Falling Skies, they're kind of banking on it, kind of roping in some Falling Sky viewers. Is my guess.
Right.
Is what they're hoping for. This looks interesting. What's going to be interesting to me is that this is, with the type of actors that he is on it, it's just going to be a little bit higher budget. You may not have quite as much with the special effects, although some of those attacks and blow-ups and stuff has to cost some money.
Oh, it looks like it's.
It looks practical though. It doesn't look digital, which sometimes lately practical is so much cheaper than digital. But
yeah.
I can't think of the term, but just the fact that the filming is not in the future. It's futuristic, but it's not. Excuse me, as futuristic as it should be for, a couple hundred years in the future. We're living on a spaceship, and then we come back down to the planet, and they're not creating new lives and new infrastructure and new geography and new biology and everything. So I'm curious because TNT does have a much bigger budget to pour into their shows. We'll see what CW does with their limited budget. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it certainly has potential. We'll see. And it's, I guess, a fall show is my guess, right? We're not going to see that this summer. Or
Well,
is it coming?
I think it's coming out in June.
Oh, it's coming out. Is it coming out with? It's coming out with Falling Skies, right?
And Falling Skies is the summer show.
Yeah. So, well, Em, we're talking Falling Skies. Do you watch Falling Skies?
You know, you always give me Falling Skies to talk about, and I have not completely watched it at all.
Well, I tell you what, I only watched the first 2 seasons, so Miles really should be one talking about it.
All right, go. I'll trade you. I'll do the next one, and Miles can talk about Falling Skies.
Very good. You can talk about the Spike graphic
novel.
Go ahead.
Falling Skies?
Yeah.
Well, we watch that trailer and see what y'all think.
All right. Well, here, let me play the trailer. And I'm sorry for those in the chat room. I know you're not going to be viewing this. I will look into a way to kind of play those trailers so you can actually see them in the chat room. That would be awesome. So, but let me go ahead and play this.
Or you could just throw the link in the chat, and they can click.
I could do that.
Your daughter is not human.
Sometimes she'll become just like me, but better.
The nightmare is just beginning.
Wake up.
There's a war. Our family, we have no idea where they are.
We don't all have to die here.
This is a new beginning. There's no escape
We are all alive!
from what's coming next.
No! They change us until we barely recognize ourselves as human.
This is the only way, the better way. I want to show you something. The future.
So I guess my only question, Miles, is do we have the main cast, the entire main cast of the original cast back?
Looking at this, it just seems centered around, the family. It seems around, Mason, his boys, his wife, and their daughter. I didn't see anybody else from. I mean, I would assume they'll be there, but
not for this promo.
But at least not. Yeah, this promo. Didn't see any of them. Saw this new female character in there.
We might see. My guess is we'll get a couple more promos before they launch out here in June. So we have a couple months. We're a couple months away. So
Right.
They'll probably throw another trailer out maybe mid-April or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But Em, you've never watched. Yeah, you kind of stopped. But you never watched Falling Skies.
So I haven't. I've watched it. I'm halfway through the first season, and I think what I need to do is a power marathon watching to just kind of get into it. I understand what's going on, and I was watching intermittently when I still had television before I broke up with it. And there were the skitters, and then there were creatures that the skitters were afraid of, and then that's kind of where I stopped. So there's a lot of detail I don't have, but I know that they saved his son, or tried to.
Yeah.
That's as far as I got.
Yeah. We interviewed Ben, right? Way back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Connor Jessup.
I should. I should post a link to that again since we're heading into it. But yeah. All right. Well, let's move on into the next piece. So, graphic novel news, and do you want to just highlight a little bit about this, Em?
Yeah. So having just power watched all of Buffy last year and learned a little bit about Spike, I'm kind of excited because it's been a while since we've heard from our favorite vampire of all time, and it looks like he's returning in a whole new way and with a whole new look in a graphic novel. Dark Horse has found its footing and a steady audience with their Buffy comic collection, so they're branching out and kind of creating something new for some of their favorite characters, a la Spike. So I'm kind of excited about this. I haven't read all. I've just started reading the Buffy graphic novels, but Spike was one of my favorites. I was really disappointed at the end of Buffy, and I'm going to spoiler it, so if you haven't watched it by now, it's been a long time. I don't like what happens to Spike at the end. It makes me sad, and I'm really excited that Spike Into the Light, written by James Marster and drawn by Darylis Santa Cruz, will first issue will be July 16th of the summer. Very exciting.
Awesome.
He's Trey Yummy too, so this will be fun.
So it helps. You know, we've seen Spike appear in Woodhouse 13 and
Smallville,
yeah.
Caprica,
Hawaii 5-0.
You've seen James Marsden, not Spike.
I know, but I always refer to him by the name they've kind of first gave him by. But
He'll be like 80 at the grocery store. Oh my God, you're totally Spike. Shut up. That's not even my accent.
Nice. All right. Well, something to look forward to, especially if you're a Buffy fan. You know, I got through 7 episodes of Buffy and didn't make it any further. That's my confession. Father, I have sinned. I'll do 5 Hail Marys and then go to confession.
So I'll tell you what I was told. Push through the first season and just kind of push your way through, because then you really start to it gains footing towards the end of the first season. And I didn't want to like it. I really wanted to hate it, and I so didn't. It was really good.
Well, I can't say that I hated it. It just didn't engage me the way I wanted it to. So
it's also a little dated now too. So you have to, when you go back, you kind of have to shift your mindset. We're the same age. You remember what it was like back then.
You know, I look at this and I say, if I go through the first season, then what I'm going to do is say, well, I watched the first season. I might also watch the rest of them. You know, then it'll be kind of an obligation I have to do.
And then you'll be hooked, and then you'll be all like, oh my God, Buffy.
Oh. All right. Well, let's do a brief cursory look at this. Walt Disney Pictures announced Cars 3 and The Incredibles 2. This exciting for you guys?
I really liked the first Incredibles, and I was wondering why they didn't make a trailer a lot sooner.
Well, so you're going to get one. How about you, Em?
I really loved Cars. It was adorable, and Incredibles is my is one of my absolute favorites. It's in the top 3 for me. I don't think they need to make another Incredibles unless this script is totally spot on. I did not enjoy Cars 2, and I did not enjoy Planes. So I kind of wish they would leave the Cars franchise alone. But I'd like to see more of The Incredibles. I'm surprised it took this long, but maybe they really wanted to craft it so that it was going to meet the high standards of the first movie.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm surprised. I guess Planes must have done pretty well for them. I saw that with my son, and he liked it. He loved Cars too. But Planes, Fire and Rescue and Cars 3, I don't know. You know what? I enjoy the one-liners, and Owen Wilson voices the one, and Larry the Cable Guy is the other voice of the tow truck.
Mater, I love Mater.
And you know, there's some good comedy and good chemistry between them as voice actors, and so I'll go see Cars 3 when it comes out. I'm sure my son will want to see it, and we'll see. But Incredibles, that's definitely one that I'm looking forward to seeing. My family.
So great. Such a great cast there, too.
I know. And hopefully they can get the entire cast back.
I'm sure they will. Like Craig T. Nelson and Sam Jackson wouldn't be all over that.
Tell me about it. Sam Jackson's in everything.
He is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I believe that is about it. No twist tonight because there's nothing going on in Star Trek.
There really wasn't this
week. Nothing major. There is stuff going on. But
well, there was some cool stuff going on in science yesterday where they pretty much proved that the Big Bang really happened. So, no, baby Jesus, you didn't make everything 5,000 years ago. Science is awesome. Not that baby Jesus is a bad thing, but there's some amazing things that have happened in science that would make us trek to the stars. See what I did there?
See, I see how you linked into the This Week in Star Trek.
I wanted to give Miles something.
Yeah.
Because I care.
I know. Besides hair? Yeah.
Because I care.
Oh,
You are mean. You were so mean to Miles.
I know. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Miles. Miles is going to walk out in the show. You watch.
Will Wheaton does not approve. That's not nice.
Oh, great. Sick Will Wheaton on me, and I'm done.
Hey, if you're not careful, what did I say? Look, red shirt. Ah!
All right. Well, let's move. Well, let's move into our last promo tonight. I'm going to do a promo for a news show that that I just launched this week. It's not really sci-fi related, but hey, if you're a podcaster and you're interested to see the equipment and the gear that goes behind the scenes, that happens behind the scenes when people are podcasting, this is kind of what this show is about. It's called Inside the Studio of the Podcaster, and I host it and bring on all sorts of podcasters to talk about the gear that they're using. I'm going to probably tap you on the shoulder to talk about your microphone sometime.
It's very fancy.
It is, and you can see it there in the if you're in the chat room. But let me go ahead and play the promo for this, and after the promo, we're just going to phase out of this phase into just talking a little bit about what it was like to meet Alan Dean Foster, but we aren't going to air the interview tonight. I'll splice that in a little bit later on.
Gotcha.
All right? So here is a promo for Inside the Studio of the Podcaster. Come on in. Let's take a peek. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Let's see what really makes podcasts tick. At Inside the Studio of the Podcaster, I examine the equipment, the software, the apps, and the plugins that make podcasts happen. I interview podcasters who tell me what their studio can't live without. We look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and give you our recommendations. Inside the Studio of the Podcaster can be found at podcastingguru.com. Well, Farpoint 2014 brought us into contact with a ton of great people, and we've shared some of the interviews from that con and some of the panels. And we shared your Big Bang panel just a few weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, but you guys, Miles M, had a chance to sit down with Alan Dean Foster, this iconic writer that's almost fits into the golden age of sci-fi as far as writers go. Tell me a little bit about that experience, Miles.
Well, this is a guy who's written fairly recently the tie-in novels for the new Star Trek movies, but he goes back a lot farther, and he tells us in the interview his experience about writing for the Star Wars tie-in novel.
Oh yeah,
which is a great story behind that. So we talked about his how he got started, some of his other books that are out there that our listeners are probably familiar with, and it's just always great to meet an author of books you have read in the past, and
of his caliber, for that matter.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's definitely a high caliber writer.
So, what was it like to kind of walk in there, have him walk in, and sit down and do this interview with him?
So he was really nice. He was, business and talk about and let's do stuff and we'll have a conversation. And actually, it was really nice to talk to. I really loved. There was a moment where we kind of went a little bit off book, and I think some kerfuffle was going on in the room we were recording in, and he just kind of told us a little story that was neat. And he tells, even just off the cuff, will tell a story beautifully. So I've not read his books, but I know a couple of people who knew who he was, and it was neat. I'm very curious to see what he's written down.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear the interview. I didn't listen to it yet, so I'll be listening to it when I edit this podcast together.
It is the best interview ever.
Awesome. Of course. You know, so. All right. Well, without any further ado, here's our interview with Alan Dean Foster from Farpoint 2014.
Who's ready for dessert? Sci-Fi 5 and 5, where we bring you the top 5, the worst 5 of anything in science fiction or fantasy. in 5 minutes or less.
All right. Well, tonight, the Sci-Fi 5 and 5, I guess I'm in charge of.
This is your list,
This
man.
is my
It's all
list.
you, baby.
It's all me. So tonight I thought what I'd share are my top 5 catchphrases and that are in science fiction. And I tried to narrow them down to movies and then animated features, and I just didn't. They're from all over the place. And they aren't necessarily the best ones, but these are the ones that I thought I just really enjoyed. And there were too many to pull from. I'm just going to be honest. So, but here they are in no particular order. I pulled 2 from the animated superhero series. The first is "It's clobbering time," and that's the thing from the Fantastic Four.
And why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
It's clobbering time. I just think it's great. You know, as a kid, you just wanted to go around and clobber things. Come on. My son runs around going, "It's clobbering time." Like, son, not.
I remember the first. We'll ignore what the live action movie that came out sometime in the 80s, but the one that came out in the 2000s. I like that the Torch had tried to get as much mileage out of their experience as possible. So he made an action figure of the thing, and it said, "It's clobbering time." And
Can you do that voice again, Miles? I like that.
Yeah, well. And the thing didn't. I think he crushed the action figure doll when it happened.
Yeah, I did too. The next one is Hulk smash, that classic line from Hulk in the Avengers and the animated series as well. Just a good line. Probably one of my favorite lines when I'm in school and I can't cuss in front of my students.
Well, if this is the second F-bomb to drop.
Exactly, the second 4-letter word.
And what's great about I guess fracking is a real thing, and but it's funny when you read about
mining.
Yeah.
When you read about it, it's kind of funny. It sounds dirty when they put it that way.
It does. Well, I was actually a student of mine doing a research paper on fracking, and it's spelled F-A-R-C-K, but sometimes it's spelled F-A-R-K. So they mix it up interchangeable, but I think the technical spelling of that is with a C in it. With the frack we're talking about from Battlestar Galactica, Starbucks' favorite curse word.
Well, that harkens back to the classic Battlestar.
Oh yeah, I know. It's way back.
Oh,
yeah.
Good old classic.
It's
great. It's always funny to hear whenever there's some debacle about mining going on, and you hear very serious news people going, and then the fracking continued. And all I can do is giggle because I'm a 12-year-old boy.
And then they show you a big drill and
No, that's not how they frack.
The innuendo
Your
and
parents
everything
teach
else.
you anything?
I just googled fracking, and there's just the truth about fracking. What is fracking? Fracking facts. Dangers of fracking.
Well, I guess there are dangers.
What happened to our family show?
I know. Hey, we're just talking about fracking.
This is science we're talking.
Talk about science.
Right. Oh yeah, let's go with that.
Number 2. My number 2 is "It's game over, man. Game over."
Aliens 2.
Yeah.
Bill
Paxton. Yeah, Bill Paxton. Great line. Great line. And then probably my favorite line. It's hanging in my classroom. Well, this line isn't, but the reminiscence of it. The toaster, I want to believe, that hung in Fox Mulder's office, that hangs in my classroom. But that line, "The truth is out there," they have it attributed from Fox Mulder, but I actually think the first time you hear it, it's spoken by the secret character Deep Throat, right? Who's secret government, the agent, who's saying to Mulder, "The truth is out there, but so are lies, Mr. Mulder." So.
Is it the same dude as the Smoking Man?
No, but they appear in the same season. In fact, he actually, the guy that did him, played in a Next Gen episode. I can't remember him. I can't remember the guy's name anymore. It's been so long. But anyways, all I know is he's running around the track. I think it might be the very first episode he appears on, and he comes in and says to him, "The truth is out there, Mulder, but so are lies." So that's kind of the line. But anyway, so those are my top 5. They may not be the best 5, but hey, if you have a better 5 catchphrases, please let us know. You can send them on into the show at 1-888-508-4343. You can email them to us at the SciFi Diner Podcast at gmail.com. Anything else we need to cover tonight, or I believe that's about it.
I think we covered it well.
I think we did a pretty darn good job. All right. Thanks to the chat room, and thank you for joining us, listeners. And I believe that's about it. So let's get out of here.
All right. Till next time, good night and good luck.
Everybody do your dailies.
No, I'm sorry. Let's do that again.
You always forget.
All right. All right. Till next time, good night and good luck.
We'll see ya.
Do your dailies. Thank you so much for visiting the Sci-Fi Diner. We hope you enjoyed the food, service, and the conversations. If you'd like to share your thoughts regarding what we've talked about, or tell us what you're watching or reading, flip open your communicators and contact us at 1-888-508-4343 or click the SpeakPipe link at sci-fi-dinerpodcast.com or send an MP3 or typed email to sci-fi-dinerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also join the conversation on our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/sci-fi-diner. We'll share your thoughts on our listener feedback show. If you'd like to support the diner beyond the conversation, you can always throw some coins in the tip jar at sci-fi-dinerpodcast.com. Somebody named Bat Country said, if you frack, you will get pregnant and die.
What was that? I'm sorry, it cut out.
Hold on. Somebody named, here we go, Bat Country, where'd it go? It keeps shifting on me. If you frack, you will get pregnant and die.
Yep.
Thank you, Bat Country.
I said, no fracking in the chat room.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Just got off the plane from Chicago and missed the first show. That's totes okay. Hi, Frage. Welcome back.
Yeah, hey, Frage. Hey, Frage.
Present! I would like a present, please.
Oh, are you showing him the Will Wheaton doll?
No, but I can show him my close personal friend, Will Wheaton. What? He may have one of these. He
probably has everything. He has one. He has to.
He probably has one.
Yeah. All right, are we ready to rock and roll here? Oh, the music's still going. Let me stop that music.
Okay. All right, let's close it up. Oh my God! The next show will be 200. You kids must be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs knowing that.
Yeah. All right, are you ready to rock and roll for this next show here? Let's be back.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. All right. Man.
That's what she said.
What? Something going on in the chat room I'm missing.
No, I just entertained the crap out of myself.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Let's start recording.
I am recording.
Oh, great. That's fantastic.
All right. You ready to go? Let's do a show here.
Let's make another show.
Let's make another show. Listener feedback.
Let's make magic.
Oh, great. I just fessed this up.
You're listening to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast, serving the latest news in sci-fi multimedia. And now, your hosts, Scott, Miles, and Adam. Your table is ready.
Live long and prosper.
The
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Walter, put the cow away, would you?
What is this place?
It's a freak show.
Well, welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast listener feedback show. This is episode 100 listener feedback shows. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
And good evening, I'm Miles P. McLaughlin.
Hi, I'm MC Garcia.
And it's great to be back here with you guys again, talking about science fiction, the stuff we're watching, the stuff we're into, talking about some of the things the listeners are into, getting some response to some of our past shows. It's just going to be a dynamite time here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And episode 100?
What?
Wow. I know. Do you remember when we started those around episode 70? We began doing listener feedback shows or something like that.
Yeah, it's because our main shows. I mean, we sort of incorporate some of our feedback to our main shows, but I figured, this is going to get a little long, so maybe we should do a separate show.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad when we had like one email or so from our listeners, but one of the people that has been with us almost from the beginning is actually in the chat room. I mean, Jen M has listened to us probably almost from the first episode. Jen, have you listened to us from the very first episode of the Diner?
Yeah, how far do you go back?
Yeah, you can answer in the chat room if you want, and we'll talk about it here in the air. How are you doing? Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your sci-fi world.
Well, jeepers, I'm just swell. Because everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team like you guys.
Yay!
I finally went to go see the Lego movie.
Dude,
that movie is a mess. I love it.
It is, and that song is so freaking awesome, and it just stays in your head time after time after time.
The best part is when they're like in peril, and so the main character starts to go, everything is awesome, and then the killer robots will go, dude, that is my jam. And they start jamming to it, and I just want to watch that clip over and over again because it just makes me laugh. They're about to kill him, and then, dude, that is my jam.
No,
That's awesome. I saw 300 this weekend, which was the new one. Not as epic as the first one. We can tear that apart if you'd like. And I'm
Did
still
you see
getting.
it, Miles?
No, I have not.
Okay. But you can talk about it because I probably won't go see it.
It's different. I think it's very clear that the way that they filmed it was specifically for 3D. There was a lot of ways that the shots were framed, and the lighting is much brighter. I went to see it in 2D because I can't handle 3D. And in 3D, everything has to be a little darker, so you don't have that beautiful chiaroscuro kind of style that the first 300 movie had, because you have to make sure that it's perfect for 3D. I see you guys motioning. What are you talking about? What are you doing?
Scott's trying to tell me to do something without telling me to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's not
He's
working.
hand motions, and I'm wondering if it's like if he needs to slide into second or throw a short pass. But we could tear into that. I'm curious. I have to go back and read what the feedback was from the listeners, and I'm still getting through the book Snow Crash, which is really funny, really good. And that's
picked up on the cruise.
Yes, that's my sci-fi world at the Mo. After cruising with my close personal friend. What?
Yeah, Will Wheaton. All right, Miles. How about you? What's going on in your sci-fi world?
Just watched the latest Walking Dead, which was, I'll be curious what the listeners think, which is a very disturbing episode.
Want flowers? Just kidding.
Okay, yeah, flowers. But still watching the shows we're all watching. Not reading too much right now. There's not waiting for the next Star Trek novel to become available. Still enjoying Doctor Who, and yeah, that's about it right now.
Yeah, well, for me, I am still working my way through DS9. I think I only made it through an episode or two since we last talked. I'm about at episode 14 in the final season. I'm about episode 8, like 8 episodes left or something like that, and then I'll be through DS9. So I'm really kind of pushing through that. I'm one episode behind in the Arrow, which is still awesome.
Oh yeah,
I'm loving Arrow, my favorite show right now. I'm behind on Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just finished Dune House Harkonnen, and that's only because I have a podcast on Thursday. I'm recording for the Dune Saga podcast. And let's see what else is going on in my sci-fi world. I was watching some Voltron with my son, the animated Voltron. He absolutely loves the
Which
animated.
original Voltron?
I don't know if it's the original. He bounced between them. We watched some original stuff, and then there was a newer incarnation of it that he watched as well.
Well, as long as you're starting him from the beginning, and he's seeing the original stuff too.
No, he's being exposed to the original stuff, and he enjoys the original stuff as well as some the newer stuff. So, and then the other thing I've been doing is I started a new podcast.
Yes,
so it's not science fiction related, but it is podcast called Inside the Studio of the Podcaster, where I kind of pull back the curtains on podcasting, and we look at some of the equipment, software, and apps that people use. So that's been what's going on in my world, and been struggling a little bit with a cold. So if you hear me cough, just excuse me. Sorry.
You're excused.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, well, I was going to tell you, Marvel Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's too long. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents, that show, Marvel. I just caught up on that, and the last episode was really good. And it's starting to hold on. And I had posted 2 articles today, one about why it should be canceled and why it shouldn't be canceled. So I want you to read that. I'd like, once you get caught up, read those articles, and I'm curious on your thoughts.
You should drop links to them in the chat room. So.
Oh, I will. They're on the Facebook page, which you can find us on the Facebook at facebook.something or the other .sci-fi diner podcast, blah, 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 blah.
Well, just another note, we are going to be heading episode 200 of our main show, and we have a lot of giveaways we're going to be giving away, so you can go to the SciFi Diner Podcast.com page and scroll down through the post. You'll find the giveaways for episode 200, a lot of autographs, prints, Eddie McClintock, and who else do we have?
Eddie McClintock.
Becker, yep. I forget who else. There's just tons of
Walking Dead prints.
Oh yeah, we have 2 Walking Dead prints signed by Carol herself. That we are going to be giving away. Lots of comic books in mint condition we're going to be giving away, so you want to check those out as well. Also, if you're signed up to the Sci-Fi Diner feed and you haven't gone to see some of our past episodes, I updated it. And not all of our past episodes, but a bunch of our past episodes I saw are now available. I did something different with our feed, and suddenly all 350 plus episodes of the Sci-Fi Diner are now available. So that's that. And again, thank you to the chat room who joined us and is watching us live right now. So Phrase, Jen, and there's some other people probably in there as well. I know I'm in there, and Oh, Colin's in. Hi, Colin.
Oh, Colin's there. Cool.
I have Colin's little friend right here.
That's right. In honor of Colin sitting on the microphone. All right. Well, let's
move on.
Move on. I'm not going to sing for you. Well, we got some voicemail in, and this is voicemail from Floyd from Aurora, Colorado, who is Miles' favorite friend because he's the guy that hates Star Trek.
Oh. Well, it'd be great to hear from them.
Yeah. So
I'll pull out my Star Trek character for that.
Yep. So he actually sends in a pretty long email, and I'm going to pause it probably at some point so we can talk a little bit about what he's saying, and then we can kind of go on and from there. So here's Floyd from Aurora, Colorado. Maybe.
Good evening, Sci-Fi Diner crew. This is Floyd from Aurora. I wanted to weigh in on some of the recent conversation you've been having about Ronald D. Moore remarks regarding the de-evolution of science fiction. First of all, I will make this disclaimer that I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan. I don't know that I'd describe myself as a Ronald D. Moore fanboy, but I am a BSG fanboy. So with that said, I don't really think there's been a de-evolution of science fiction. Television science fiction. I think if you look at the history of it, from the 50s on, the amount of it has fluctuated. We've probably got more genre fiction available to us now than we really ever have, and I think recent properties like Harry Potter and Twilight have shown the big wigs that write the checks that there's a market for this kind of product, and that people are willing to pay for it. And I think when you look at the success of things like specifically Harry Potter and Twilight, I think a show like Arrow is a direct outgrowth of the success of those kinds of franchises. Something that is catered towards the young, adult, late adolescent crowd, plays on the coming of age stories. So even though I'm not really a big fan of Twilight in the sense that I hate it, there is some, there have been other benefits to the success of that franchise. But I think more than anything else, with so much product available, I think the reality is that so much of it isn't very good. I don't think that speaks to a de-evolution of it, of the genre, as much as it speaks to there's a lot of companies that are trying to capitalize on current popularity of genre fiction. Now it's pretty hip to be a nerd. And in capitalizing on it, I don't think there's a lot of good stuff out there. But there's certainly there are good stories to be had. So, like I say, I don't really think it's a de-evolution. That statement implies that there was a point in the history of the genre where the sophistication was at a greater height. And I don't think that's necessarily so. I think this is constantly undulating mountain range. I think there are high points, shows like Babylon 5, like Firefly, like BSG, but then there's plenty of low points along the way, and I think there's more lows than highs, just generally speaking. I think specifically television movies have to cater to an audience much broader than those that are specifically picking up comic books or buying specific genres of novels or buying novels from specific writers. So invariably, the genre or the sci-fi, the fantasy, whatever you want to talk about, but those elements get watered down and get washed down into something that's more consumable by a broader audience. So that's what I think about that.
All right, so let's chat a little bit about what Floyd is talking about. He actually said some pretty good things in response to what Ronald D. Moore said.
Yeah, it was as far as being a fan of Ronald D. Moore, I've enjoyed, of course, Battlestar Galactica, but Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Next Generation. I've really enjoyed those of his. Haven't really picked up on Helix, so. As far as the de-evolution of sci-fi, we talked about this. I don't think we were really in agreement with Ronald Moore on that one.
No, but I like what he said. Like, it seems like since sci-fi has become kind of popular in a way, or becoming a nerd or geekiness has become much more acceptable. And you think of all the money that geeky movies make. Of course, people went into the playing field, and I wonder if people are trying to capitalize on it without having the knowledge and the background in it, and so what they come up with is something maybe less than stellar. And so when he said there's a lot of more lows than highs, I kind of agree with him. Emma, your thoughts on this?
Well, Ronald D. Moore certainly likes to hear himself speak. And he's had his hand in a lot of science fiction and fantasy, and so his chops are pretty big. He's got a good footing in it. He has a very long history, and I consider him to be incredibly knowledgeable and well respected. Now, the comment about I agree with Floyd in that saying that there's a de-evolution of sci-fi would mean that it's hit its pinnacle and it's falling apart. I think if anything, there's been a diversification of science fiction that has brought us to the craptastic of Twilight. And it's brought a reimagining of Star Trek, and we've got Star Wars, the good films and the fan fiction films, and now the new birth of the new films, and then you've got some, like there's a young adult version that's much more popular now. There's a little bit more female written towards. There's so much more there. I wouldn't call it a de-evolution. I would call it just an amazing diversification. This like giant melting pot of sci-fi fantasy nerddom. So, like, as much as I don't like Babylon 5 and I don't like Twilight, I'm not the audience for it, but what's awesome is that there is an audience for it, and it's a nice big broad one.
There's something for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and I liked how you said, even though he did not like Twilight, he gives Twilight credit for kind of spurning many other shows on that have, been high quality. Like, so would we had shows like, I don't know, Being Human, or or Teen Wolf? Would these shows have been around without the Twilight series?
Being Human would have, because it's British.
Yeah, and I don't know, did that come out before Twilight? I don't think so.
No, I think it.
I think Twilight was before.
Was it? I don't think it had any kind of impact on it though, because the British version is much darker than the American version, and the actor's a little bit more yummy.
Jen said they're always looking for the next Harry Potter. So
they are. You know what? They are looking for the next sci-fi cash cow.
No, they are. And
that's what it is. They're looking for the next cash cow.
Yeah, so they're like spreading out their garments, these fleeces, and saying, well, what's going to stick? What's going to stick, right?
Right.
I've not watched
Harry Potter was good.
But I wouldn't consider Harry Potter fluff, though.
Oh, no, I don't think. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's a book that actually grew up with the character. I found that the books became much richer and a little bit more deep and a little darker, as you do when you go from being 11 to 17, 18 years old.
And the great thing with those 8 movies is that the movies kind of grew with the characters as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well let's continue to listen to see what else Floyd has to say. Maybe.
I did want to take a minute to weigh in on Almost Human. I'm still watching the show. I haven't watched the season finale, which aired last night. I would imagine by the time you guys get this message, this will be old news. So I haven't seen that yet. I've enjoyed it. I'll be honest, it's not really what I expected when I saw some of the promotional material. I was hoping against hope, really, for something a little more Blade Runner-y. It's pretty fluffy and it's pretty soft, but again, I think Em is absolutely right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In my real life, my kind of heaviness, sadness, human misery cup is chronically pretty full. So I've turned more and more towards lighter fare the last couple of years. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. With that said, I don't think it's particularly good science fiction. I think Almost Human is at its absolute best when it's moonlighting or Northern Exposure. When it's Joel and Maggie or David and Maddie kind of going at it. I see it's not as much a buddy cop movie or buddy cop show as it is about like these two people in this weird yet very intimate relationship trying to find the ins and outs of trying to get through their day and get through their experiences. And when it's hitting on that front, I think it's when it's best and it's the most enjoyable and it's the most fun to watch. The sci-fi elements are fine. To me it's pretty glitzy and soft, and there's references, to kind of a greater overarching story, a more complex world that these characters inhabit, with the whole John Larroquette thing and the wall and all that. And that could be really cool. I'm going to keep watching. But to me, Almost Human is at its best when it's the weird sexual tension between Dorian and Kennex. I don't think that's intentional, but I think it's there, and I think that's what makes it fun. It's the same dynamic that made watching Moonlighting fun when I was a teenager. So take that for what it's worth.
All right. So, Em, do you want to talk a little bit or respond to Floyd? Okay, maybe not.
It's so funny because I've heard so many people refer to it as kind of like Moonlighting, but with two dudes, and they do talk about their junk a lot.
I know.
They have the best rapport. They really do. They're written so well, and the two actors are friggin' hilarious. I do love them dearly. they're possibly on the chopping block now that what show just got canceled? The singing show, this on Fox.
American Idol?
The Voice?
I don't know if it's The Voice or it's one of those, it's the come sing and be embarrassed by us for the first 2 episodes show.
That's American Idol.
American
I
Idol
think
got canceled?
so. Not American. I don't think it's American Idol, but something on Fox got canceled that's kind of in that vein, and so they have that time slot that they need to fill. And it's between The Following with Kevin Bacon, and it's between Almost Human if they're going to keep it. And I think they just haven't gotten to where they need to get with that. And I agree with Floyd completely. It's at its best when the dialogue is spot on between those two. They have the best. Like they're like Wallowitz and oh God, I can't think of his name. Raj, yeah. What is the Airsat Summer? I can't even say it.
Jen said it was the X Factor that was canceled.
X Factor, yes, that was a disaster of a show. But they're hetero life partners. They're like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
It's a really cute show, and it can be a little fluffy.
He said that he was hoping for it to be a Blade Runner. I didn't think about it, but there is a little bit of Deckard and Edward James Olmos's character from.
They couldn't take it.
But it just is not that. It's just not that deep of a sci-fi show.
No,
they're not going to do that.
No, it's not as dark as and you have. I mean, there's dark elements of it, but because of
his character's name, God,
the relationship you have between Dorian and Kennex. I mean, it's
precious.
It's fun. So it's sexual tension. I didn't. I
don't know if I'd put it quite that way.
Yeah, I mean.
I need a minute.
It's
so funny that it's perfect because it's what people hate about the show and what people love about the show. I love that about the show.
Oh, awesome. Well, let's continue. We have a little bit more to say, and then we'll wrap up his voicemail here.
Good evening, Si.
I actually lost his voicemail here. Give me a second. I have his voicemail.
Look, you can use this and go back in time and go find it.
Go back in time.
He doesn't know what this is.
My Diner Crew.
All right.
You need to watch more Doctor Who.
I do need to watch more Doctor Who. We're going to come back to Floyd's voicemail here in just a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about Believe 102 Beginner's Luck. Now, I did not watch Believe. Did any of you guys watch Believe, the TV show?
No, I didn't.
Just came out?
I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but
people are liking this.
Are they? Because I'm seeing half and half about it.
Well, that's kind of what I have. The one comment I have here is by Sean Kennedy. He said, I didn't think I would like this series. 2 episodes in, and I'm looking forward to following along.
Okay.
So he liked it, but you said you've heard thoughts that aren't really stellar regarding it?
Well, the thought it's been brought up that there's really, I mean, it's only 2 episodes in, but that the first pilot episode wasn't kind of a clincher. It didn't really grab you, and that the second episode continued within that vein, that you're still kind of like you're wanting the story. I'm not going to judge till I watch, but it is on my Hulu list, and it's on the Hulu, but other program watching options are available.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. These days, a show really has to kind of grab you in the first episode, and I think this is one of the things that made Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. such a difficult watch for people. The first couple episodes felt a little bit lackluster. People were coming into it with all sorts of preconceptions as to what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be like, and it was not delivering overall.
They wanted the movie in TV form, and that's not deliverable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You just can't expect that. Let's talk Walking Dead before we go back to Floyd. Miles, you absolutely loved the most recent Walking Dead episode, right?
I'm amazed I was able to sleep that night.
Okay, so you want to tell us a little bit about it? What made it such a pivoting episode for you?
Anything with children and horror is always going to be disturbing. This episode focused on Tyrese, Carol, the 2 little girls, and Judith. I mean, I mean, as much as I can on Judith. Judith is a baby, but Carol is trying to train these girls how to survive. The one girl gets it. The one girl thinks the walkers are not bad. They're just different, and she has definitely a different. She doesn't have the right attitude about them that she should have. And well, let's just say, I mean, we could read Matt and Jen's comments, and then I could kind of like just sort of just give the end of what happened there.
Yeah. Do you want to read Matt's comments?
I can, as soon as I get to that page.
That's all right. I'll read Jen while you're looking for Matt's. Jen, who's in the chat room, said, well, yeah, about the episode. Wow, what an episode. I couldn't believe they actually went there. But I guess they had to. Somebody on the Talking Deads said it was sort of like A Mice and Men with Lizzie and Micah. I think Carl's going to be the last kid standing in this show. But at least everything came out. Although I wish they would have said that Lizzie did have some part in Karen's death. That way she could have killed them both, and Carol had to drag the bodies out when she found them. Oh well. But it's still a really good episode.
Well, and Matt said, I'm running if someone tells me to look for flowers.
Okay, do you want to explain that, Miles?
I'll be happy. Well, no, I'm not going to be happy.
I like flowers. Don't ruin this.
Yeah.
You may want to tune out a little while.
La 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 la. Not listening.
Wave when you're done talking about it.
Like I said, you find out this one little girl. She's got. I mean, this is a zombie apocalypse, so it's bound to damage some people.
Seriously, that's what Walking Dead's about?
Well, in some places, yes. For some people, and you have the one sister, the older sister. She's the one that's a bit damaged, and there's one scene where there's this one walker who is trapped in the train tracks. His one leg is broken, so he can't move. He can still move his hands around, but she's feeding him mice. And then
it's like V.
But then you see her later on. She's walking, and it must be like a little girl walker chasing her, and Carol ends up killing it. And the one girl's like, "That's my friend." You know, and it's like, she was going to kill you. She says, "No, we were just chasing each other, having fun." So it's like, you know, something is not right with this girl. Well, what happens is Tyrese and Carol are walking, getting supplies or whatever, and they come back. They're kind of hiding out in this house, and they find the one girl. She's got a knife in her hand. Her hands are bloody, and her little sister's laying down. So you don't see what happened, but you know what happened. She says, "You know, I'm waiting for her to change." And
Right.
you know, and she was got planning to do it to Judith too. And they're like, they managed. You know, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember if she has the knife in her hand or the gun in her hand, but they managed to convince her to go into the house, and Carol and Tyrese are talking, and Carol says, "This girl can't be around people. I'll take her away or whatever." And they go, and this little girl starts crying or whatever, and Carol's like, "It's okay, sweetie. Just look at the flowers." And if from that scene from Mice, Men, where I forget the one character, but I think it's Lenny is the one who has this problem with accidentally killing people. You know, she just,
Right.
You know, Carol ends up shooting the little girl because what else are you gonna do? I mean, there's no way to help this girl in this.
What is a little bit of Mice and Men? Because I mean, that's what George has to do to Lenny there at
George,
the end,
yeah.
just because of the John Malkovich and
Mm-hmm.
Gary Sinise. What great roles for them.
Oh yeah.
But you know, just in that scene, what they had to do with those characters, terribly sad.
It was a very terribly sad situation. They explored an area that maybe would have happened in a zombie apocalypse, but not something you want to think about. But
yeah,
it's like this girl killed her sister. What are you gonna? I mean, you can't put her in reform school or
mental institution or anything like that.
They're all gone. There's nothing.
Right.
You know, you can't. This little girl's a danger to anybody, and so I'm not defending what would happen. I'm just saying this is what happened.
Yeah.
Carol also confesses to Tyrese that she had made the call to kill this one woman who was Tyrese's girlfriend. This other guy. This is when the flu epidemic was getting in everybody. And he made a judgment call that that if didn't want to spread, but Tyrese was feeling very magnanimous. He just says, "I can't forget what you did, but I can forgive you."
Okay.
And
so it sounds like a very gut-wrenching episode.
It was. Yeah. It was disturbing. Yeah. This was not. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this one so much.
You can listen now.
I was sort of listening. I made the mistake of putting my headphones on.
Yeah, nice.
The creepier it gets, the less I want to watch it.
I know. It does.
Scary.
Walking Dead at its best when it explores to what lengths would you go to preserve humanity, to keep humanity. What is humanity?
I'm uncomfortable with it. It's just creeping me out.
This was creepier because when you involve children in any kind of horror film, whatever situation.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you look at what kids are capable of. If they're kind of, again, Lord of the Flies-ish. I mean, you look at what kids are capable of if they're left go, if they aren't restrained in some way at times, and they aren't disciplined, and it's not incredibly, unfortunately, far-fetched.
And both these little girls have killed before. I mean, they had either had to kill walkers, or when the jail got invaded, one of them shot one of the invaders. So it's these little girls had a lot happen to them in their short life.
All right, I want to play the rest of the voicemail from Floyd, and I might have queued this up just a little bit early, so it might be a little bit of repeat, which I'll edit out in the main show when we get there. But here's Floyd again to finish his voicemail. Okay, I just lost it again. Forget it. All right, well, not that. Well, let's move on. Yeah, you can laugh. So, let's talk about George R.R. Martin's plan to keep the show from catching up. George R.R. Martin is listening to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast because, as you'll recall, an episode ago we were talking about how the whole Game of Thrones conundrum, about how they're going to keep it from catching up. Well, George R.R. Martin responded, and here's what he said. Not to the Sci-Fi Diner because we're too small fries as far as that goes. But on Vanity Fair, he said this: the season that's about to debut, so season 4, but really book 3, is about. It covers the second half of the third book. The third book, Storm of Swords, was so long it had to be split into 2. But there are 2 more books beyond that: A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. A Dance with Dragons itself is a book that is as big as Storm of Swords. So there's potentially 3 more seasons there between Feast and Dance, if they split into 2 the way they did with Storms. Now, Feast and Dance can take place simultaneously, so you can't do Feast and then Dance the way I did. You can combine them and do it chronologically. And it's my hope they'll do it that way, and then before long they'll catch up with me. And before they catch up with me, I'll have published The Winds of Winter, which will give me another couple years. It might be tight on the last book, A Dream of Spring, as a juggernaut forward. Okay. And he's also put forth the idea of maybe a prequel season, where they go back in time, mentioning his Dunk and Egg stories as well as his recent Targaryen-centered novella, The Princess and the Queen, as an example of Westeros-based material that could be used. He's aware that the press for time, particularly as there are young cast members such as Maisie Williams, growing more adult every day.
Yes.
There's a conundrum there. There's no doubt about it. Em, any thoughts on this?
So I've read up that HBO is going to stop at season 7. They're just going to stop. But now, with this article, with George R.R. Martin actually sitting down and writing the damn thing, the darn thing, I don't really know. Because the guy who plays Targaryen, why can't I think of his name? Peter Dinklage. He's about to sign on for another show, like we talked about before.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean. Who's to say? That's another HBO show, and if HBO decides to keep this going, there's no reason they can't both. He can't be doing both shows.
Yeah, but you have to recontract everyone. If they've contracted everyone through season 7, then you have to start. And you want to add on, they're gonna want to renegotiate. They're gonna want to do a lot of extra things. People, they're a commodity that you can't have I can't think of his name. You can't have him without Peter Dinklage. You can't have these characters without these actors. So if these actors find other projects, you can't go forward. So if Martin's ready to lay down the law and put down the rest of these books, he needs HBO, and he wants HBO to really go the distance with him. They need to get their crap sorted out like kind of quickly, like in the next year or two, because if indeed HBO has said this is season 7 is as far as we're going, and that's up to book 5, that means they are truncating and cutting out a lot of stuff, which I think might be important, and George might not want.
Yeah. Thoughts on this, Miles?
I think the both of you have said it. I mean, if Martin wants to see everything done, if he wants to finish telling his story, he's got to get off his butt and finish it.
I don't know if you can push Martin, though. I mean, 5-6 years between books is not uncommon for him. I don't know what they're going to do. Renegotiating these contracts is going to be an absolute nightmare at the end of season 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost HBO a lot more money.
Yeah.
I think HBO is going to try and wrap it up in some way, and they're going to be asking George R. R. Martin for a script or something. I don't know. I think George R. R. Martin, by them airing these, if he wasn't planning to release these 2 novels for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
Since the beginning of HBO, since the beginning of the Game of Thrones series and TV, then they should have waited to start it closer to
when he was done.
Yeah.
And then again, he might have had he might have had a. Who knows what they discussed to begin with and where they wanted to go with it? Who knows where they were gonna, where George thought he was in his headspace, where HBO thought they were going to be, where the popularity was going to be, where the cost was going to be. It's hard to say without being in those rooms with them, but we can speculate that there was a plan, and this is probably very different from what they planned to do. I don't know. I think that George needs to sort his crap out now, and then work with HBO to make sure that if the story's going to get told, it's going to get told, and it's going to get told to the end. And if not, work with George to get it to an end point where at least people will be like, I need more, and then go for the books.
I think my worry here is that we're not going to get a resolution. Like you get to the end of book 5, or okay, let's say he does make it to the next book. The next book is published, let's say, in a couple years, and they're able to, it's released right in time for the season as well, which would be great marketing. I don't know. I'm worried what we're going to be doing is we're going to be left hanging, because he certainly doesn't want to spoil the final book, ahead of time. And I understand that from a writing point of view. And I understand you can't really push, excellence. I mean, when you read the George R. R. Martin books, there's stuff in there, minute stuff that comes into play 5 books later. I mean, he has really thought through these books.
The king of minutia. He's truly the king of minutia, and I say that in a good way.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's very few writers that can write with such relevance and such depth as he can. I mean, there's no way about it. But here's the other side. So you have two facets. You have the book crowd, and then you have the people that are watching the television show. Some people that are doing both, and I don't know where you take that. So I don't know where you take it. I don't know what the answer. Jen says a tough call, and I'm not sure. Again, I think it is a tough call.
Did you guys listen to the song I sent you the link for, the Paul and Storm song?
No, but I'm going to.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, but I'm going to throw it in here at the end.
You have to throw it in here at the end.
I will. Can you actually throw it into the not the chat room, but into the show notes down at the bottom again?
Yes, I can.
I'll click that link and I'll get that started then when we get to the end of the show here. All right. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to play I'm going to play this link from Floyd, and we'll see if we can catch the tail end of his voicemail. Oh, look, I'm going to get it working. Now, this is actually going to back up just a little bit, so you hear him wrapping up his thoughts on Almost Human.
Is at its best when it's the weird sexual tension between.
I just wanted to hear him say sexual tension again.
And Janice. I don't think that's intentional, but I think it's there, and I think that's what makes
it's
it fun,
intentional,
is it's the
Floyd.
same
It's
dynamic that
intentional.
made Watchmen
All right.
when I was a teenager. So take that for what it's worth. Lastly, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Despite kind of the lackluster response, I think, from many of the folks in the fanboy and fangirl community, I really enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. To me, what really shines about it is the emotional strength of the stories and the humanity of the characters. The stories are incredibly complicated, but for me, maybe because of where I am in my life and kind of what I'm doing on the day-in, day-out basis, a lot of what is discussed, a lot of what is being explored inside of the relationships between the characters, I strongly identify with, and I find it very enjoyable to watch. I think the players have great chemistry. They seem to be having a good time doing what they're doing, and those elements far outweigh the sort of more middle-of-the-road kind of plot elements. So I'll keep watching. I hope they keep making it. I'm about halfway through the 5th book in the Game of Thrones series. You are very correct in that it oftentimes feels very much like reading a set of stereo instructions if a stereo was built during the Middle Ages. The 5th book is probably more so than any of the others. The story is reaching a level of complexity, and the cast is reaching a level of size where it's becoming more and more difficult to keep track of who's who and where's where and what all the different agendas are. So while I'm still enjoying the 5th book, I'm looking forward to wrapping it up. I haven't watched the 3rd season yet. I just picked it up on Blu-ray when it came out last week, I think, so I'll be watching that soon. And I just subscribed to the Saga of Dune podcast feed. I'm a big Dune fan of the original series. I didn't really like the couple of expanded universe Dune books that I read back in the 90s, but based on what I've been listening to in your guys' feed, Scott, I just picked up The Butlerian Jihad, and I'm going to give it a listen because I listen to all the stuff that I quote-unquote read. I'm a literary poser. And I'm looking forward to kind of spending some time in that universe, probably not less complex than that of George R.R. Martin's Westeros, but it'll be a nice change of pace. So that's all for me. Thanks a lot for all of your guys' work and all of your time. I really appreciated the live shows from Farpoint. Even though I live in the Denver metro area and there's a couple of cons in the area, I don't often get a chance to attend. So it was nice to kind of hear some of the hustle and bustle in the background and hear your guys' excitement surrounding those events. So again, thank you very much, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.
All right, Floyd. Thank you so much for calling in and giving us your thoughts about the various shows you talked about. He actually talked about a lot of good things here. Let's start with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thumbs up from him.
Yeah, and maybe it didn't start off where folks would have liked it to start off, but I think it has got very intense. I have one episode I need to watch before I'm caught up, but
yeah, I think I'm an episode or 2 behind.
But they've really picked things up, and we're gonna, maybe see some secondary superhero, super baddie characters. It seems like they're gonna be introducing those in the show, so we'll see some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Your thoughts on what he said about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
It's really going somewhere cool. It's really going somewhere interesting. I have always thought of the show as being just fluff and an advertisement between movies, and they've surpassed that. They're telling a story that from the human side and what it's like to be left on the ground to clean up after themselves, especially right after Thor came out, the new Thor movie, and they were in London cleaning up afterwards.
Yeah.
They were literally cleaning up afterwards, and that was kind of neat, and there were a lot of interesting things that popped up from there. And then if you've been watching and you saw, what the guest house was, hint, hint, and who came to visit, hint, hint, there's some interesting stuff there, and keep all that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about his comment on the stereo instructions?
Oh, well, I like the extension of if the stereo was from medieval times.
Right. Definitely.
It's a lot to get through, and it's so gorgeous. It's just really hard. It's like when you go to a steakhouse and they say if you could eat the whole 22-ounce steak, it's yours. It's just a lot of steak.
Yeah. Right. You know, and Floyd, it's great to have you listening as well to the Dune Saga podcast. We're recording our next one here in a few days, and I'm glad you're on the journey. And like you, I am a literary poser because most of what I read these days is actually I'm listening to, just because I run a lot, I drive a lot, and it makes sense. And I have kids, and I'm podcasting and doing other stuff that I don't really get a lot of time to actually physically sit down and read as much as I wish I would. But yeah. But anyways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I agree with him on that, and totally glad that he's liking that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And great to hear some good feedback on some of the con experiences.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed our PowerPoint.
We have the Arrow panel we can release.
We do. Yeah.
We do. We shouldn't let that get away. Well, we'll release that, I guess, a little bit later when we have time.
Mm-hmm.
We have an Arrow panel, and is there anything else? I guess a Dune panel I could release as well in the feed, since we kind of did that. But
You should put the Dune panel out. That was good.
Yeah, well, I think David did in the Dune Saga podcast feed, but we'll get it out.
You can cross.
We can cross. We can cross, definitely.
Do a crossover.
Yo. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. Before we get out of here, remember we are heading toward our 200th episode. We have some great loot for you if you want to check that out. Again, if you want to comment, call into the show. Let us know your thoughts. You can do so by calling in 1-888. That was one too many eights. 1-888-508-4343. You can email us at the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast at gmail.com, and you can also send an MP3 that way. Join us on our Facebook fan page. That's facebook.com/Sci-Fi Diner, and we have a Twitter as well, Sci-Fi Diner as well. You can hit us up on. As always, we would love to hear your feedback, any thoughts, and hey, if you're really liking the diner and haven't visited iTunes in a while, we would love to get a little bit of positive feedback from you on iTunes as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it always helps. We're going to end.
Will Wheaton says to do it. Do it now.
Do it now.
But in a nice way, because I'm a cool dude.
Yeah, so we're going to actually end with a song that M recommended. You want to tell us a little bit about this song?
So Paul and Storm are just an amazing set of musicians. They're just a little cuckoo. And my first exposure to them, they had sung a couple of songs, and then they sang this. And I had just become a really big Game of Thrones fan and had learned that it takes George R.R. Martin like 1 billion years to write the damn books. Darn books. So I heard this song, and I thought, this is the nerd anthem of all nerd anthems. This is perfect. And if Colin is still listening, he could probably chime in with his info on it. He's also, in our little circle of friends, we all love our Paul and Storm, who were also on the cruise ship with Will Wheaton. It's the nerd anthem of all nerd anthems. And if you love the George R.R. Martin books and you just can't wait, this is the song for you.
Oh, yay. All right, well, we'll play this to exit the show tonight. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Good night and good luck.
We'll see ya.
Do your dailies.
Oh, there's an advertisement playing here.
Oh, well, because you I meant, did you get the other link from the Paul and Storm website? Because that doesn't have the advert. Because I want to send people directly to the Paul and Storm site instead of the Geek and Sundry. Ooh.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin, he's right master. You're not going to get any younger, you know. Winter is coming, I'm growing impatient, and you've still got 2 whole damn books left to go. So write, George, write like the wind. I curse the day that my friend ever loaned me an old dog-eared paperback called Game of Thrones. How could I know that this seed would grow into an addiction that held me right down to my bones? Now 5 books later I lurk with the masses, indignant, entitled, and waiting for word that the great bearded glacier has finally published 900 more pages of crack for the nerds. Why does every new verse of your song keep taking you so goddamn long? George R.R. Martin, please write and write faster. Please give us boiled leather and sigils and steel. We need our allotment of incest and intrigue and 6-page descriptions of every last meal. So write, George, write like the wind. Lewis took 5 years to chronicle Narnia. Tolkien had 12 years and Rowling took 10. Lucas spent nearly 3 decades on Star Wars, and we all know how that one turned out in the end. You're not our bitch and you're not a machine, and we don't mean to dictate how you spend your days, but please bear in mind in the time that you've had, William Shakespeare churned out 35 friggin' plays, and if you keep writing so slow, you'll hold up the HBO George R.R. Martin, please write and write faster, cause we won't stop whining until we're appeased. Crap out the chapters, and George, while you're at it, stop killing our favorite characters, please. And write, George, write like the wind. George R.R. Martin, please write and write faster, like or you are dead. George, please write like the wind.
That is absolutely classic.
It's brilliant.
The video is great, isn't it?
It is definitely a great video. I love the lightsaber that appears.
Yeah. I love these guys so bad. So bad. And if you're going to link it, if you would you mind using the link for the that goes to their Paul and Storm website instead of Geek and Sundry?
I will definitely do that.
Yeah, I mean, well, you could the explicit rating. I forgot about. Well, it's just one word. Well,
it's George R. R. Martin. Come on.
I know. I mean, this is just a book about incest. I mean, just I'm looking at the lyrics, and it's just perfect.
It is perfect for George R. R. Martin, though. Awesome.
Apparently, he's heard the song, and Paul and Storm could probably tell the story better, but he's well aware that the song exists.
Oh, really? Did he respond to them?
I think I don't remember the story very well, but I think when they first met him, his response was, "Yes, I've heard the song." And I think there's videos somewhere out there where they sing the song and he comes out on stage.
I think so. I think when I was looking it up, there was actually a video of that. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, it was at Woodstock 5.0, George R. R. Martin versus Paul and Storm. So Paul and Storm launch. It says basically the description is, I'm going to watch this later. They write like the wind, only to be interrupted by the great bearded glacier himself. I got to watch that. So.
Their stuff is pretty darn funny too. So I would highly recommend you listen to all of it, consume it all, and not just because I'm a big giant dork fan, because it is awesome.
Yep. Well, awesome. I think that's about it. I'm not recording anymore anyway, so.
Our witty banter is the best part.
I know. Well, the chat room can enjoy it.
Yeah.
So. All right, well, we're going to wrap up. I got some kids I got to get to bed.
Stupid kids. What you going to breed for?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Did you say, what did I breed for? Is that what you said?
What did you go and breed for? Yikes. All right, well, guys, as always, it was absolutely a pleasure.
It was fun. Thank you, Colin, and, well, Jen's no longer with us, but thank you, Colin, for joining us.
And Frage. Is Frage still there?
Frage isn't here
No,
anymore.
he left too. Stupid Frage.
Hey,
Not
George,
stupid Frage. Love you.
breaking the guitar.
Nice. Are you watching it?
Yes.
Nice. I'm sure they had it planned. So, okay. Well, hey, we gotta get going here. But
Okay.
it was great chatting, and
As
listener
always.
feedback episode should be out in about 2 days. So,
Coolio. Thanks, fellas.
all right, man.
Bye.
Well, good night. We'll chat. Bye.
Good night, Em.
Oh, I guess I gotta shut down our main feed here. 'Cause we